Welcome to this week's Pars TV halftime show. Did you know that 10.5% of the world's population has some form of diabetes, and that number is only set to rise over the coming years? Throughout the whole month of November, it is World Diabetes Month, and specifically on Thursday the 14th of November, it is World Diabetes Day. Here at Dunfermline Athletic Football Club, our very own goalkeeping coach Andy Collier has been on his own diabetes journey. Let's go and find out more. So Andy, thanks very much for taking the time to join us on Pars TV's halftime show today. I know that you haven't publicly spoken too much about your diabetes. Could you go back to 11 years ago before you got your diagnosis and just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so I started at Airdrie. I kind of was playing youth football there. I kind of got on the periphery of the first team. I'd been in a few squads. Actually, the first time I was in a squad was at East End Park on the bench. So from there, it was basically once I passed my driving test, I really wanted to be somewhere a bit closer to home. So I went to East Fife. Was promised first team football there, and I never got it for a year and a half. But ultimately, about 2 years into being at East Fife, I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes.
Could you explain to us how that diagnosis came about? Because it seems pretty late on in your life and around your late teenage years that you got this diagnosis.
Yeah, so a lot of the time when you have type 1 diabetes or get it, as you say, you get it as a young kid or maybe early teens. But when I got it, it was largely due to a ball impact. So making a save, it was a game against Arbroath. Just at the end of the season, I've come out, went to make a block, and the balls hit off me, and that was that. Essentially, the biggest change in my body was that I'd gone from 88 kilos to 65, but I didn't really notice that at all. So it was strange that you can lose so much weight but not notice it in yourself. 23 kilos, it's a lot to lose before realising. But in terms of other symptoms, I was needing to drink maybe 2 litres of water. I'd drink that maybe 15-20 minutes. I'd go through maybe 2 or 3 of them in a short space of time. And I thought that was really the first indicator where I thought things aren't maybe quite right here.
And how did it impact you in terms of your own life and your professional career? Once you were diagnosed, were you able to continue playing and living a normal life, or has your life changed dramatically?
I'd say, it's changed a lot. I've gone from being a normal person to having to inject 4 or 5 times a day, check blood sugars regularly, all these things that a normal person doesn't really need to think about, that now, 11 years down the line, I don't think about it either. It's just a way of life. But essentially, from a playing perspective, I had to stop playing for a wee bit, try and regulate it. But I did try and come back and train, but the training I was doing was minimal at the time, which then led to obviously me wondering whether I should continue to play or not.
From a general perspective, from your own experiences now, would you say that people listening to this, watching this, that either have diabetes or potentially get diabetes diagnosis in the future, would you say that you should never give up on your dreams, and you could still be a professional sports person or a football player or anything else that you want to do in your life, and that diabetes shouldn't be a barrier in their way? Yeah,
it should never be a barrier for anybody. Ultimately, as much as I say about the diabetes kind of stopping my professional footballing career, if you like, ultimately what did kill it was I broke my hand and then had three operations on it. So I did try and go back to play once it had all been regulated and managed, and then I just kind of got unlucky with breaking my hand, and that was ultimately what put paid to playing professional football. It wasn't the diabetes as such.
We're here on a match day here at KDM Group East End Park prior to the Livingston game on the Tuesday evening. What kind of regulatory tests do you have to go through when you come here or before you come here to make sure that you're okay for a match day?
So when I first got diagnosed with diabetes, it was a finger prick that I had to it was always like just a little needle that went into your finger. It drew blood and then you tested with a strip. But now I've got a continuous one that sits on the back of my arm, so I just need to look at my phone and it'll tell me what my blood sugar is. So in terms of actual testing now, there's not a whole lot. I just look at my phone and it gives me the reading, whether I'm high, low, in range. and then obviously if I'm high, I'll maybe then have some insulin to bring it down. But ultimately, in a match day, it's probably one of the hardest days for me to manage my blood sugar.
We mentioned at the start of the halftime show that 10.5% of the world's population have got some sort of diabetes diagnosis, and that's just set to increase over the coming years. What would you say World Diabetes Day and World Diabetes Month means to you and all the other sufferers of diabetes?
I think ultimately diabetes is one of these conditions that there's not a lot of people that know much in depth about the condition. So the whole month, and even in the 11 years I've had it, I've seen it year on year grow in terms of popularity with Diabetes Day, month and things like that. So it's good to just raise awareness of it isn't just because you've had too much sugar or you've had too many sweets and things like that. That's not the reason why you get diabetes as such. It can be in some cases, but for in my case and a lot of type 1 people, there's other reasons why we've been diagnosed with type 1 diabetes.
And you mentioned there about the kind of technology part of it now, checking your phone and being able to see your results instantly, to know what you have to do. Would you say that over the last 11 years, through that technology increase and growth, that it's become easier to manage diabetes, and is that only going to be able to get better for people like yourself as technology continues to get better? Yeah,
definitely. I think when I was first diagnosed, having a finger prick all the time, I remember going maybe a year where finger pricking or even just having the injections, it filled me with fear. And given some of the things that I'd gone through in life, or putting myself in the way of footballs and things like that, really an injection should be nothing, or a finger prick should be nothing. But now that that's moved away from that, and you're now just looking at your continuous patches on the backs of your arms, or pumps and things like that, it does make it so much easier to manage. And obviously moving forward, hopefully there becomes a cure for it.
And as we stand here at KDM Group East End Park, as we said, ahead of a match day, and okay, as you've said, you've not been able to carry on your playing career, but you're now the goalkeeping coach here at the Pars, and you seem to be really enjoying the coaching side of it, and that you're able to just kick on with life and kick on with your coaching career.
Yeah, absolutely. Ultimately when I stopped playing initially, I got into the coaching straight away. It was one of them, I stopped playing football and I realised I needed something to fall back on. So getting into the coaching was almost a blessing as well, because it gave you something to take away the sort of mindset, or help with the mindset of actually having type 1 diabetes and everything that came with the life of being a type 1 diabetic.
And just to finish up, what would be your overall conclusion to the Dunfermline fans watching this, or just anybody else that's managed to find this video online? What's your message to them overall, whether they have diabetes or not?
I think regardless of whether you've got a medical condition, type 1 diabetes or anything, it's just never let anything get in the way of what you want to achieve. If you work hard enough and you do the right things, you can achieve whatever you want to achieve.
So Andy, we're back inside now in the Players' Lounge. We were speaking about your technology. Could you show us how it all works?
Yep, so these days I've got a patch on the back of my arm here. So it's just a little circular patch that gets changed every 2 weeks. You link it up to your phone or a little sensor that they give you. You just go into the app and it tells you where your glucose is just now, or where your range is just now. So right now I'm 7.7, so I'm in a decent place just now. But as you can see, earlier on I was really high, so how I was feeling was probably quite tired and lethargic. But now that my levels are getting back to where they need to be, you start to become energised again.
Ready for game day?
Ready for game day.